ladies and gents, the holds and the sells for round 14. Now, just got an interesting message. I've had a couple of them now in the YouTube comments saying why they go and watch other channels or other podcasts. And I'm like, cool, thank you. Appreciate the feedback and thanks for letting me know where you're going instead. And the comment here was that the visuals are better and it's better constructed. So I'm not sure about having timestamps which get you directly to that player where I actually discuss the player. Now, when we're talking about graphics, we're talking about having them being a hold, a sell, or a buy. But it can't be that easy. And unfortunately, I think if you're taking advice like that, just straight up hold or sell, unless, they've got an injury or they're going to be out for like 3 or 4 weeks through suspension, there's nuance in this. All of these guys here, I just wanted to show what it would look like if I had big graphics and whatever else on those guys. As I said, there's timestamps on these players that you can go straight to it and hear my thoughts on it. Most of them are going to say hold or sell because depending on your team, depending on where you're at, depending on what type of cover you have in certain positions, and then heading into round 15, what you need for there, round 18, what you need for that one. I could put this on the screen, but it doesn't help you, in my opinion. If you are just basing it straight off this, then maybe Nawangi Tawaze, I've got him as a hold. I think he's doing really well. He had one bad week. When we say bad week, it was the 31. Like, it's fine. Maybe you have 5 Roosters, and in that case, he's a sell. So if you just look at that straight up, it's like, oh, Jamie said to hold, so sweet. But there's nuances to this, and that's why we have these videos, and that's why I go through, even for 30 to 40 seconds, on a player to give you that information to help with your side, because it is different for every team. And yeah, so the way you take in information, all well and good, but if that's the reason you watch someone else, I'm not sure if that's the correct reason. You should be going for the information that they talk about, and the results that you do get from my channel, my ranks, myself, the people that I help, they're really, really good. So I suggest that you stick around, get the actual information rather than rolling just off a hold or a sell recommendation. I just wanted to say that because it's been happening for a lot of the year now. And I get that some people are better with graphics and different stuff like that. And awesome. If that's what you're here for, if that's what you want, the information, the type of information you want, then that's awesome. You can go to that. But what I'm going to go through here is the information that you need for your team to help you do really well. Not just a blanket hold, a sell, a buy. Now, Payne Haas, perfect situation here. He could be a hold or a sell, depending on where you're at. Now, the break even is massive, and he misses a lot of games over the next period of time. It's round 15, it's 18, it's 20. He's backing up, as we saw, didn't back up very well last round, which didn't help me. But, may get rested, could pick up injuries in Origin. This type of stuff as well is the reason why you could sell him. Now, if you don't need to, then I'd rather you take the score this week because it could be really, really high. He has 100 upside. He has 97 upside, 88. He has some really, really cracking scores. He has 5 scores above the 80 mark, which is just ridiculous and can help you make ranks and do great work. Now, the worry is if he goes for like a 60 and he loses a fair bit of cash, and then you might be selling him next week. That's where the negative lies. But the positive is the fact that he can hit his break even, which not a lot of people can hit the 100 mark. So with Haas, you want to jump in and decide do I need to trade him to get the plays in I want? If it's a yes, then think about it. If it's a no, then hold this week, and you may hold him through the rest of the year. You may sell him next week. We don't actually know how that is exactly going to play out, but if selling Haas allows you to get 2 guns in positions that you need, like if you're struggling in wing fullback or if you're struggling in half at the moment, then that's a position you might want to improve with guys like Campbell. Maybe you need a good mid for next week. You didn't get Kolomatangi, and maybe Haas gets you down to Colo. So there's lots of different variations and nuances that you need to decide upon when looking at someone like Payne Haas. So I'm potentially looking at selling him in my side, as you can hear with the way I'm talking about him, and you might want to as well. But I also think that he can have the biggest score, the largest score of the week. So Payne Haas, a really fun one. Now, Joey Tapine, he had 1 game of low minutes, and now he's a sell, apparently. He has gone, mid-50s average across the last 3, but before that he was 60 plus in 2 of them and 72 in round 10. So Price is 57, averaging 60. There's not many people that average 60 in this league. Now, he misses round 15, yes. They haven't had a bye yet. But given he just got through lower minutes last week, surely you'd imagine that bigger minutes can ensue this week before that bye the following when he gets a good rest. And that's part of the reason I think why the minutes have dropped, just a slight amount, and he hasn't gone near 60, is because they haven't had a bye yet. Yes, he missed a couple of games through suspension, but it was at the start of the year and he's gone round 4 through 13 in that scenario. Now, I think if you're selling him, you're probably going sideways to Koloamatangi, and Tapine is averaging higher than Colo over the year. But yes, Colo's gone 80 minutes back to back, and he may do it again, but he may get a rest at some point as well. So find another way, in my opinion, to get to Koloamatangi. Nafahu Whyte. Now, I'm an owner, and I think we've gotten this far. He's likely to be back next week. He better be. If he is, then the Roosters miss a lot of players through Origin. So at 593k, it's a price point where it's not, killing you having him on the bench, and that's why I've been able to hold. And we know that he can go 50 plus pretty easily. And he could get the same score as someone like AFB or McInnes in that following week, who are really good buys this week, who I also didn't mention in the buys video. So that's good. AFB and McInnes. Apparently they're not on the Who's Hot list. So Couchman has taken over that one, and I agree with that. Those guys have been on the buy list for a few weeks now. So sorry about that. Forgot AFB and McInnes. But Naf Whyte should help us out next week, and with Roosters middles out, he should be able to do a good job for us. Now, Horsburgh, 648k. It's in a situation now where he's moved to 13, and maybe he gets decent minutes this week. He's gone under 53 times in the past 5 weeks, but in that same period of time, he's gone 54, 61, and a 57, wedged in a couple of 40s in there with the sin bin a couple of weeks ago and just the lower minutes last week. So he could easily go in the 50s this week. He could go to 60, he could get bigger minutes in the lock position, depending how they play that one. If he gets anywhere near 60 minutes, then he could dominate. So that's where holding could be completely fine if you don't have to trade in another mid this week or upgrade to someone with a lower break even. Then holding this week could be really helpful for you. A lot of people sold last week, and that's fine. And you can also, but holding is also sweet on the other side. Now, Hosking's an interesting one, right? Because we've had him score so well for a long period of time in the second row. Now, across his career now, he's at a 50 in 67 minutes. And that's basically the minutes that we'll see from him. Now, priced at 43, if he can get a 50 average, he's got 7 points of value in him. We've had a little bit of unluckiness, I think, over the last few weeks. He's missing a few tackles and not making a lot, which, with the amount of points in games, that's been hurtful for him. What I did like last week was the amount of run meters that he had at 128 and 82 kick meters. What's going on there? That's wild. Tackle break and an offload there. So really just needs to get those tackle numbers up. 22 in tackles for someone can be an attacking player, but isn't usually that way. He's a guy that can get into the 40s and 50 tackles pretty comfortably. They just need a game that's a bit more back and forth and a little bit of luck, and he'll be fine. Now, if you need someone in the edge position for round 15, if you've got some improvements you need to make across the side and you need a bit of cash, someone that you can sell, then I do understand it, because there's 3 buys remaining. He misses 19, and maybe you can cover around 18 there if you've got Aitken or those types of guys there. But just be aware of round 18 and his ability to help in that week when your Knights are out and a lot of other teams. That's Hosking. Siwa Wong, great score last week, keeps his break even reasonable, made a bit of cash last week as well, and will help us out in round 15 and 18. So Siwa Wong very, very clearly stays in my side, and I think you should stay in yours. There's not too much else around it. It was great to see him get involved in the tackling side, and if he's going to have random games like this and his lower games are like mid-40s, then priced accordingly, completely fine and helpful with a chance for upside like we've seen all year. Now we've got Savala and Sandon Smith. So both those guys are in a position where one of them's going to lose their spot and we don't know who it's going to be. Now, my brain tells me that Savala being the more organising half, when Walker plays his best, he is the organiser, he is in control. So I think that Savala leaves the side, but Savala also has the lower break even and has had some good scores. So there's a side of me that says use these guys to loop this week and decide next week as to who misses the side, right? And hopefully your guy doesn't. You can play him next week. If you're really well covered in half already with 2 good halves, then you can sell this week. Not a problem at all, because Savala has made some decent cash. Yes, has a lower break even, but could easily pump out a 27 like he did a few weeks ago. Yeah, surprisingly, second lowest score of 46 in the last 5 weeks. So good on Savala on that one. But either of those guys could move on, definitely. But they could also be held, looped, and see what happens next week. Hugo is scoring better than what Sandon is right now. Sandon's just had, I don't know, solid consistency, to be fair. Lots of 30s and 40s. Has that 175 and then has the -2 in the rolling as well. So he's someone that could come out and have that big score. He's had one of them, hasn't scored over 50 outside of that, whereas Savala has a few more games that are more consistent in that higher bracket. So yeah, both are fine. And, as you can see, not many hold Sandon Smith right now, and it's more a Savala question, which we just answered. Jamal Fogs. Now, I think that he's just a very clear hold. Yes, he's got the groin problem and should be good to go this week. Might be conversions and stuff that he might struggle with, but when it comes to round 16, they play the Tigers, and then it's the Newcastle Knights into St. George Dragons, and I think he's a very clear hold because they are games there where he can go 60 plus very easily. So Fogs, in my opinion, shouldn't be looked at as a sell. If he misses this week, then maybe we find out some more information, but at this stage, if he's playing, then it's a no in my boat. Munster, very clearly, easily on the sell list. He doesn't have a crazy break even, but he absolutely did his job in round 10, 11 to get you good scores as well as round 8 and get his price moving back up in the right direction. Got down to 578, 570, yeah, almost pretty close, just under where he started the year. He's made some cash, done a good job, misses a heap of games there, backing up risk and all that kind of stuff. Coming back from Perth in round 16, so Munster can move on fairly easily, and there are better halves out there. Humphreys is a tough one because, yeah, he's had a tough go of it since he got the injury. He was crushing it, and then, tackle numbers are down. The odd tackle break, the odd attacking stat is just completely gone. The running meters a little bit lower. Kicking meters have been down apart from round 11 with the 49. And yeah, I think he can do either way. Now, he's losing a lot of cash very, very quickly. He got up to 652 and he's down at 489 now. And some people have bought. I think Humphreys is a guy that people might look to buy across the next couple of weeks. Now, that's the worry, is that if you sell him and then he gets cheap enough for people to buy and then he starts going better. But if he's one of those guys that you can use as if you don't need a half for next week or you've got a few extra trades up your sleeve, then I think he can easily be moved on. But holding as well at this price, he surely can hit a 36 average going forward or better than that. It's crazy how that's turned around since the start of the year. Now, Kitione Kautoga, priced at 40 for him with the center and the edge duel. It's a good time to get off. We've got the 27. I think it's very easy for you to hold him as well for this week and get through that one and then decide the following, because he could easily go back to a 50 score. He had the HIA, didn't play very well at all with the penalty, the couple of errors, a couple of missed tackles as well, and way lower tackle numbers and way lower meters gained. So it was one of his worst games of the year and could easily bounce back. And then from there, he could get a 55, make a bit of cash, and then sell him next week. But ultimately, if you've got a few out this week, he could be an easy scorer in your side, in your 17. So either way is fine. He's not relevant anymore for round 15 and 18. So sell ultimately. Doesn't have to be this week. Dylan Lucas, just a very clear hold. He's averaging 58.5. He had his lowest score of the year with the 38 there. And he'll be fine going forward. He's just missed a few tackles and had a few negatives in recent games. If we can get him back into the 40s tackles with some potential for attacking stats like we've seen, 5 tries this year, 6 line breaks, doing a great job. So don't look to move him on. I just saw the percentage down a little bit and I thought that was a mistake. Rob Toia, he's going to miss 14, 15, 17, potentially 16 coming back from Perth, 18 in that Origin side. So that's where the sell works. If you think there's a chance he doesn't make the Origin team, then you can hold. But I think now's the right time. Break even settled from being really good there. And yeah, he's fine to move on. Nawa Tuaze at 588k. He's priced at 44 now, but it's off the back of some really good games. Now, with him there, you're looking at 56, 48, 45, 67, 50, and 31. So wasn't his best game on the weekend. Lots of errors like we're seeing. Low tackle break numbers. And obviously not at centre and making tackles. Didn't have a line break. He's been having line break assists. All that good stuff there as well. And has a bye, yes, but he's going to be helpful 15, 18. I think that centre and wing fullback slot, especially for 18, is very, very tough. So in my opinion, he's a hold this week. Now, moving on to Tamale, a very clear hold in my opinion after the good score, the lower break even. Now, he doesn't need to be sold at all. And very, very helpful, as I said, for that round 18 clash. And I think will be a sell in 19. So if you can get through next week, that would be good for Tamale. But just ultimately has had generally pretty good games. He's averaging 42 now. Not a worry. He can definitely have the low score in there, but he can have the big score like last week and be very, very helpful. And then Iongi at 498k. He's someone that you could easily look to move on from. We've got Riley Smith, who I didn't mention in here, that's with that really good score again, I think you can easily hold. You can use his cash to upgrade too. Similar to that, the story with Iongi at 498k. With the lower break even, could easily hold this week. It is against Canterbury though, who should be a pretty tough opponent for him. But the Eels are playing better and he's getting involved. And the last 2 weeks have been great. For that, he didn't have a try, an assist, a line break, anything like that last week and managed a 47. So he just had that try saver at the end, which helped him out into the high 40s. So either way is fine for him. Loop, these type of players can be your final resort after loops as well. So there you go. We'll leave that one there. If you've got Turbo in your hands, then I do think you hold on to him as well, with him likely to be back next week and be very helpful in the wing fullback slot. Sorry for the little rant at the top, guys. I just want to say, everyone's content is different as well. I know where my shortcomings are. I know what I lack. I know what I bring to the table as well on the other side. And graphics, all that type of stuff, it's not my thing, unfortunately. It would take way too much time in amongst other work and stuff, and that's fine. If other people have better content that way, then that's great. But you come here for the information. I put the timestamps in now, making sure that's in there, just to have that as my little point of difference there. And you guys come for the information and for how I deliver it. And I thank you, every one of you, for that does come in here and watch. And I suppose I'm probably talking to my real audience rather than the people that are on the fence. And if you are on the fence, there's the reasons why you should stick around. And yeah, if you're with me all the way, thank you very much. You're all legends. And thanks for watching. See you later.